Good evening, everyone. Are y'all ready to go?
Grady.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At about 5:26 this afternoon, the sheriff's office received the first 911 call of a tornado that touched down on Daughtry Road and some of the side streets on the east side of US Highway 98 North. This is just north of the city limits of Lakeland, but still in the Lakeland metro area. Our deputies had a 2-minute response time. Upon their arrival, they saw significant damage on 2 streets. There's at least 2 houses that appear obviously to be uninhabitable at this point. And it's important to notice that there is significant damage to trees and to other homes in the area. Of course, by the time we started an initial damage assessment, it was dark. But what our deputies did upon their arrival at about 5:28 p.m. is we started going door to door on the various streets that run off of Daughtry Road to check for safety, security, and to make sure there were no injuries. At this point in time, I am pleased to report to you that we received 0 reports, no reports of injury, even though there was significant damage. Well, of course, as you well know, we have an emergency push team as part of the sheriff's office, but there's a bigger picture here, emergency management. I have Paul Womble, who is the director of emergency management for the county. His team and our team work together on all of these major events, and I'm going to let Paul give you some further information. Before I do that, let me add that we will have deputies here in the neighborhood all night long to ensure safety and security while people are putting their lives back together. And I ask people, if you don't live here in these neighborhoods off of Daughtry Road tonight, don't come down here. Because if we find you prowling around on private property, you will go to jail, directly to jail. And that will be our Christmas present to you. Just call it an early present. Stay out of the area if you don't live here, because folks are going to be up late tonight clearing up their house. We've been working with them and our push teams to get their branches and sometimes whole trees cut out so that they could get their cars out to go to work in the morning. In the morning, we will also have one of our PIOs here that will be more than happy to meet with you if you want daytime shots throughout the neighborhood for your newscast. So with that, let me introduce to you a dear friend of mine, and certainly a professional in every sense of the word. We're proud that Paul Womble is our emergency manager. Come on up, Paul.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Womble, Emergency Management Director. As the Sheriff indicated, county responded, Sheriff's Office, Polk County Fire Rescue, Emergency Management. So we got out here to assess. I really want to talk about our plan for tomorrow. Polk County Roadway Maintenance Division was here tonight, and they have a plan in place for first thing in the morning to come out to start picking up the debris, the trees. I know Lakeland Electric is still working in the area to restore the rest of the power. They made a big dent in that tonight, so we thank them for that. So roadway maintenance will be here in the morning. We'll also have our county damage assessment teams to do that assessment in the morning and really come up with some more numbers, definitive numbers on the level of damage and the numbers. Again, we're very thankful there were no injuries or worse tonight. And I do know the National Weather Service tomorrow plans to do a survey. This actually was part of what appears to be a storm system that impacted Pinellas, Hillsborough, and here in Polk. So they'll come out and do their storm survey in the morning, and we'll get it cleaned up. We also connected some folks tonight with the American Red Cross. Anyone that was impacted can call them directly at 1-800-RED-CROSS, and then they'll be out as well in the morning to follow up with other folks. So again, blessed that no one was hurt. Blessed that we work very well together, all the agencies here in Polk County. That's what we do, and it's really for our citizens and their benefit.
Hey, can you spell your name before you go?
Sure. Womble, W-O-M-B-L-E. Paul, common spelling. I'm the Emergency Management Director.
Thank you.
As we close out this evening, once again, we have had far too much experience working together, serving the community. As you know, Paul and his team, EMS, fire, we've all worked hurricanes together, we've worked fires together, and tonight we're working a tornado together. But once again, it's a wonderful day whenever no one's injured. We can repair houses, we can grow new trees, but we can't bring a life back that dies as a result of a horrible event. And tonight, we not only can report to you that there's no deaths, we don't have any reports of injuries, so it's a God thing. Any other questions?
The two homes that are uninhabitable, what exactly is the damage to those homes?
The house that I saw was totally devastated. The roof's torn off, part of the windows are broken out. It has obviously significant amount of water and rain on the inside, so it would be about like living in this parking lot with some walls standing up. You'll be able to see it better in the morning, but we're working with those families as well and making sure that their homes are safe and secure tonight.
Sheriff, what was it like for you to be out there surveying the damage and talking to those families that are affected?
The families were exceptionally pleased with the response by the Sheriff's Office and County Emergency Management and Fire Rescue, but that's our job, that's what we do. And we responded as if it were our personal family that was there suffering that damage. And that's how we're going to do security tonight, and that's how we're going to work through recovery tomorrow, as if it were our personal family that lives there. Because you know what? People of this community is our family. So at the end of the day, it's always heartbreaking when you see someone's home destroyed. The walls are still up, the roof's gone, but the unbelievable part of this is that how you can have one house totally destroyed and the houses on both sides are, for all intents and purposes, in pretty good shape. That's not to say they don't have some minor structural damage or minor damage. But at another house I saw, a massive oak tree ripped and twisted off, but the house whose yard the tree set in was in good shape. So there's always the shock and awe of Mother Nature, and that's what we saw tonight.
You know, we've had a tornado last year, obviously not in this same area, but how did the two compare to you?
Well, all tornadoes, when they hit and they devastate people's home, are really, really, really heartbreaking. And I have worked many, many, many tornadoes over the years. I mean, I've been here my entire adult life. I can remember one tornado we worked, some of our best friends' grandmother was killed in that one. And that was particularly difficult for me at that time because there were my friends and their grandmother died as a result of the tornado. So I've seen death and destruction from tornadoes. I've seen great damage. In fact, it wasn't long ago, about a year ago, we had this same sort of event just to the west of where we are now in northwest Lakeland, but the damage was much worse and it was spread over a larger area than this. This looks like, for the guy who is not a weatherman, this was a skip. I mean, it was here, it hit in this very, very tightly confined couple of streets just south of Daughtry Road, and it lifted up and was gone. Thank God.
Grady, do you know how many families had to be redirected to the Red Cross?
You know, I don't, because we're still surveying that. But once again, there's at least two houses that look uninhabitable tonight. But neighbors are helping neighbors, families are helping families. We're making sure that there's ingress and egress for the families and friends that need to get in to provide assistance.
Sheriff, was there a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, or any advance notice, or did this just kind of come out of nowhere in that storm?
No, if you watch the weather, we knew there was a cold front coming through, and this came through with the cold front. And as the cold front moved across the county, it spawned at this particular tornado, and you saw the results of it. But once again, I've seen tornadoes here, and I've seen them take out street after street, house after house. We're fortunate, we're blessed. It's a horrible event for the very few people that it affected, but it was a very few people compared to what I've seen here. and it pales in comparison to the tragedy that we see out in the Midwest, in the center of this country, with the massive tornadoes that take out entire little towns. We didn't have any of that. This was a very tight little area, but for the people who lost their house, that's as devastating as it can get, short of losing lives, and no lives were lost.
So just to clarify, there was no, as far as you know, there was no warning that was pushed out that could have given someone 30 seconds to prepare, right?
Well, I can only tell you from my subject matter expert, my wife, who was watching the weather at the time, and said they announced on television that the tornado had touched down in North Lakeland right now at that moment in time. So yes, the weather stations throughout this area are remarkable about warning you that there's bad weather, there's bad weather, there's bad weather. I don't know what that was. I was in meetings over at the headquarters at that particular time, but I do know, according to my subject matter expert, my wife, she said, hey, they were pointing out that the tornado's on the ground right this second. And we immediately got calls, and we were watching this. Emergency management was sending us information that this strong line of thunderstorms ahead of this cold front was moving through.
Were the homes occupied when the storm went through?
I don't know if the homes were occupied at that moment in time. I think at least one of them was, because the information we got is he was going to his safe room, and he noticed his safe room wasn't safe anymore, and the tornado kind of peeled the house away above him as he was trying to run from it. So I suppose that he was inside the house trying to get to his safe room, not outside trying to get inside. But once again, those are details that we aren't sure about right now, because we have to do a lot of things in short order. We can get the details tomorrow, but right now we're hearing it from maybe the person that's the victim, or maybe the person's neighbor that was a victim, or maybe the person who would like to think he saw something.
Sheriff, do you know how large of an area is still without power?
No, I don't, but Lakeland Electric had a remarkably good response here. They're already here with poles that they're putting in the ground tonight, right now, within what, a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours of the event. So you can't say enough good about Lakeland Electric. They already have some electricity back on that was off. They're putting poles in the ground tonight, of some poles that were broken down, and I'm sure that they will work throughout the night to restore electricity and power to this community. I heard the numbers, 150 to 200 houses at one time without power. Certainly I don't know that it's that much now. Lakeland Electric can probably give you more information. Paul, do you have any further information about? Paul doesn't know either. Lakeland Electric is the one to contact about that. Okay.
Sheriff, there were reports of damage at Hilltop Food Mart. Do you know the extent of the damage there?
I'm not sure. Once again, we will work with our friends and our colleagues with the Weather Service, and we'll have a better aerial look in the morning whenever daylight comes. But it's at this point in time, once again, when you know how bad tornadoes can be, this one was really bad for a couple of houses and bad for a few other houses, but it was not total devastation like we've seen across this country before.
And the people who weren't able to get back in their houses, are they able to get back now?
The people who are not, I would say the house is not inhabitable unless you want to camp under the starlights, but we didn't ask them to leave their house. They're there with their home and their possessions, and we have deputies in the area with their home and their possessions. So no house that's damaged is going to be left abandoned without security tonight. We're going to be there all night long, because that's what we do. We support our community that supports us every day.